Hey everybody, my name is Jay, and we're talking about Cass today. If you haven't watched my video titled, I got every character in Soul Calibur 6 to S rank and this is how I did it yet, please do so before you watch this, as I'll be going through this character in the same format that I discussed topics in that video. And I'd rather not make the same disclaimers that I made in that video with this one, as just repeating information. I had a great time with Cassandra as I was playing her. You get to make a lot of decisions that feel rewarding. You have control over your guard gauge, more so than other characters, which is kind of a unique thing. And if you're looking for a character to aggressively take your opponent apart with strings and movement, she's quite strong. You're going to be dealing with a lack of range for most of the run. That's going to be one of the main frustrations, and your damage is going to be relatively low, at least starting out. The damage part gets a little bit easier as time goes on. First thing, let's talk about block punishes. Your character with an I-10, so that's cool. Your -10 punish, AK. -12, you basically just want to do AK again, doesn't really get any different. -14, you've got BK. -16, 2 through 6B, and 2 through 6K. -18, basically the same thing. You could technically do this, but you know, you only get the attack throw and counter hit. It's great that you have an I-10 punish, but it is important to note that it does put you at frame disadvantage. Unlike other characters that have an I-10 that put them in frame disadvantage, you don't go into a stance to try and deal with it. So you could use AA instead if you like, but you're not actually getting any frame advantage. You're neutral on hit. And frankly speaking, I find the frame disadvantage on AK to be negligible in most situations, since you're an I-10 character. You're typically fast enough to deal with it. My advice, get used to using AK in a lot of spots. BK gets you a good amount of frame advantage, and the rest of the punishes are strong as long as you have the range for them. Now let's talk about wall rising moves. Wall rising moves, you got wall rising K. This is what you should use to deal with small lows that will get you like a -12 or a -14. You could potentially go for a crouch throw as well, though that's a little bit advanced from when you're first starting out with the character. Wall rising K will do a perfectly fine job. And then you have wall rising B, which we'll also talk about later, which is pretty good for most situations, a very universally good move. But that being said, you may want to get something that's a little bit more substantial than wall rising B if the objective is to duck punish with grabs or highs. To actually get larger damage out of ducking highs and grabs, you'll want full crouch 3A. This gets you your ramp mechanic. It becomes a lethal hit if you've had your guard crushed, which is a nice little treat. If you want to separate yourself immediately from normal Cass players, I would argue do not use wall rising B as your duck punish, as on normal hits this doesn't really do much of anything. Full crouch 3A, that's how you want to separate yourself, when you're really getting used to using reactions to solve certain issues. Now for Oki, Cass's moves are pretty flexible, pretty straightforward. You can catch people in certain situations when they're on the ground with things like 3B, which catches ground to 1A, 1K. If you have Divine Force, you might be able to catch them 2 through 6K, A plus B. These are a little bit more specific. When you have a harder time with people later on teching back, on techable knockdowns back off of the ground and quickly sidestepping, that can be a little bit of an issue. I found that Cass moves tend to lack a certain range to punish that sort of thing, even if you have a good read on it. And that forced me, when I was playing the character, to kind of rely on 6-6B strings to try and corral my opponent into continuing pressure. Trying to get back in is the most important thing with Cass, so even if you don't necessarily get damage on a string like this, trying to go back in, the mere fact that you are now in against a longer range character that doesn't have as much options in this range as they do at this range can be a reward in and of itself. Catching sidestep is relatively easy with things like 6A, 6A plus B, 2, 3, 6A may do the trick, that's a little bit different. 2 and 4A, also something that I really liked. Now going with grabs, Cass's grab range is kind of unimpressive, so you'll have to really get up close in most situations to pull them off. But frankly speaking, in terms of her grabs, that's basically like her only weakness. Her grab game is basically great off of everything else. You got multiple command grabs for all different kinds of things, ramping up your ramp mechanic. You've got like a crouch grab, frame advantage, everything's great. You get a lot of grab opportunities just due to the fact that you're smothering your opponent with a lot of attacks all the time. So trying to thread that needle, realize when the opponent's finally going to respect your frame advantage or your fast buttons, and that's when you can go for the grabs. It'll happen quicker than you think. Now on to like similar combos and pokes. Cass's filler combos are nice in that it's the same input for most situations, 4K into 66BB. You can get this off of 3B. You can get this off of a wall rising beat counter hit. You can even get this if you want like an A plus B lethal hit combo. Kinda have to wait. It's a little bit... You can get much bigger combos off of this. This is just like your simple starter combo just to start. But it's nice to have the exact same combo that you can do in most situations. It's best to keep things simple until you get used to other facets of the game plan. And then you can branch out and get more optimized damage, especially when you start using things like Divine Force. Frankly speaking, the rest of the combos for Cass can kind of handle themselves. The big damage you can get will be off of strings that naturally combo together. Things kind of flow that way. Again, relatively low damage until you start really getting the optimal stuff. And then when it comes for pokes, you basically can't really go wrong. Because for speed, hits like single B, jump B, single A can really irritate the opponent. Plus, you have tons of ways to like knowledge check and reaction test the opponent. This can be buttons like BK, 6A string, 2-2A string, 6B string, 2-3-6A, 2-2K. I love all of these moves. Check to see if your opponent is ducking at the appropriate time during cast strings. If not, things like B plus K or BK can provide you frame advantage constantly. If they do start ducking it, then you got your B holds. Try to take reads as to how the opponent is handling your frame advantage and speed as well. Because if they're not ducking in neutral, fast highs can smother the opponent, smother their buttons. If they stand block to eventually get frame advantage, you can start using your litany of lows like the 2-2K string. This was easily my favorite move when I was playing Cassandra. Really fantastic. 1K, 1A, crouch grab maybe. For almost all other situations, there's wall rising B, aka the Tamanegi. Similar to like characters like Killick and Ivy, you can kind of waddle around a lot, just to say like a steady, like, you know, doing a step duck kind of formation for an eventual wall rising B, which on counter hit is going to be really great. And it catches people off guard due to how strong the hitbox is, even after the fact that it was nerfed. Rude cast players, like when I played the character, will literally just do wall rising B on block into wall rising B. Pretty sure that's even how Tamanegi beat Joshin at the last Evo Japan, too. So, yeah, the move is crazy good, and it can dictate a lot of the pace if you work it in as a counter hit fisher. If you find they're mashing at disadvantage up close, you can start using things like 2B, assuming you have the reactions for like counter hit confirms. An easy one that does something similar, like one of the ones that even a guy like me, who has bad reactions, is able to use, is 3K. And overall, the objective should be to put them in rough situations as much as possible, so you can start focusing your attention on how often they backdash, they mash, or they statue block to get out of your pressure. Once you start paying attention to their escape options, you can start choosing the buttons that counterplay their tactics as well. Overall, that should be the goal when you're playing Cassandra. So if you're learning Cassandra, please let me know if you found this interesting, if you found this useful. Do the regular YouTube stuff, like and subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. And I'll see you next time for the next character, yeah? Thanks very much.